And we are back with a bit of a different video, but one I said I was going to make, and, well, of course, here I am making it. Here are going to be my predictions for the NFL Honor Awards. Now, I'm only going to be doing the ones that they posted on Twitter or X. I'm personally a Twitter guy. That's what I call it. I know there's I don't know what it's called, but there's a best pass protector, best O-lineman one thing. They didn't post that, so I'm not going to be going over that one. Because last thing I want is to get, the finalists wrong, because I think I don't really pay attention to the O-line that much. But anyway, enough rambling. We're going to be starting from the top and working our way down. By the way, this is, if you look in the top left, there's my Twitter, YoshiZ_YZ. Same as my YouTube. If you want to go ahead and go follow it, I occasionally post stuff on there, mainly about my channel and updates on it. So yeah, but mainly it's just me reposting NFL news, so if you happen to miss something, you could always see it on there as well. Starting out, though, we have the Rookie of the Year, offense and defense. We're going to be starting on the left side with the offense. We have Jackson Dart, Emeka Egbuka, Travion Henderson, Tetairoa McMillan, and Tyler Shough. Now, this is also my opinion, so feel free to get mad at me or whatnot. I don't care. But I'd personally give it to Tet McMillan. I mean, for the season he had, granted, started out very, very slow. But, I mean, he only picked it up from there, and I think, that deserves it. Quite opposite of Emeka Egbuka, where he started out super hot and then, turned cold. And then the other guy, Jackson Dart, I don't think he deserves it. Tyler Shough could make an argument, especially considering he played a lot less, but I think that is going to factor into it. He played really well when he did play, but he didn't play every snap. And then same with Travion Henderson. He was the backup / benched for, his off-the-field character concerns. So I personally would give this to Tetairoa McMillan. So, yeah, I don't really think many people will disagree with that. I think, in my opinion, it's between him and Tyler Shough. But I'm going to give the edge to Tet McMillan. Looking at Defense Player of the Year, we got Abdul Carter, Nick Emenwari, James Pierce, Carson Schlesinger, and Xavier Watts. This one, I don't think should be a competition. I think it's going to be Carson Schlesinger. For him to play so well in his rookie season, I mean, he was, I don't even think this one should be close. Abdul Carter, granted, yeah, he had a pretty good season. I wouldn't be hyped about it. I think James Pierce definitely had a better year than him. Nick Emenwari, I really like him. I think he, in my opinion, is better than Xavier Watts, so we're just rule him out. But I just don't think they respect safeties that much. I think he had a really good season. I think in any other year he would be a pretty high candidate. I do think, in my opinion, he should be the second place person. But Carson Schlesinger, I mean, he has such a great year. I don't think there's really any argument for him not to be him. I don't think anyone's really going to disagree with this one either. We're now going to go to Offensive Player of the Year. We have Drake May, Christian McCaffrey, Puka Nacua, Bijan Robinson, and Jackson Smith-Njigba. Just going to quickly rule it out now. I don't think it's going to be Drake May. MVP is kind of the quarterback award. Offensive Player of the Year is kind of for those, those flex positions in fantasy, running back, wide receiver, tight end, those kind of guys. So, no offense, Drake May. I think you had a great season. I think you're in the MVP talks. But for Offensive Player of the Year, you're just kind of like, you're like the polar bear in Arlington, Texas. Then we got Christian McCaffrey. Definitely a great season. I don't even think I would give it to him. I personally like Jonathan Taylor a lot more. Granted, Bijan Robinson, I think, was worse, so that's also going to rule out Bijan. Both guys had a great season. I just wouldn't give it to Christian McCaffrey this year. I think it's going to be one of the wide receivers, Puka Nacua or JSN. With my vote personally going to JSN. We've seen Puka Nacua do this for a few years now. For JSN, in his first year as a starter with DK and Tyler Lockett gone, to go off, I think he should get it. I do think, and I would say, I think Puka had the better season. Right? I know there's an argument there. I think Puka definitely had the better season. But I would give the reward to JSN simply because this was his, real first year as a starter, kind of split snaps his first 2 years. For him to go off like this in his, I just think it's, I think he deserves it. I think this one might have a little bit of a disagreement. I do think there are going to be some people who are like, well, it should be Puka Nacua. I do actually think there's some people who are going to be vying for Christian McCaffrey. I definitely think some people are going to be vying for Drake May if he doesn't win the MVP award. But like I said, I don't think, quarterback should win Offensive Player of the Year unless, a quarterback doesn't win MVP, which that's pretty rare. So, yeah, I think Bijan's probably the only one who shouldn't have an argument because I think he was clearly not the best at his position this year. Moving on, now we have Defensive Player of the Year. Do I need to talk about this? It's Myles Garrett, right? All these other guys, actually, everyone had a great season. Unfortunately for Micah Parsons, his season cut short. He maybe could have made an impact. But you broke the single-season sack record, right? There's no other argument that needs to be made. Give this to Myles Garrett. We're not even going to talk about this anymore. Give him the award already. We shouldn't even have to wait till February 5th. Moving on now, we have Comeback Player of the Year, Stephon Diggs, Aiden Hutchinson, Trevor Lawrence, Christian McCaffrey, and Dak Prescott. In my opinion, there's only one candidate, and it should be Christian McCaffrey, right? All these other guys had good years, but for Christian McCaffrey to go off like he did, arguably the best running back, like I said, I think personally it was Jonathan Taylor. It's unprecedented. Especially when you look at the 49ers and all the injuries around them. Like, Christian McCaffrey was really, the only one to stay healthy on that offense. So I think you got to give him an award. I think, Aiden Hutchinson, I think he definitely has a chance to get it. But I personally want to lean towards it. I know people are with the quarterback bias are probably going to lean towards Dak Prescott. I also wouldn't give it. Trevor Lawrence wasn't even the best quarterback. And Stephon Diggs, I think he had a good season, but I don't think he really deserves to even be in this conversation. He kind of seems like, well, we need a fifth guy, so they just kind of put him in. So I don't think, no offense to Stephon Diggs, but yeah. We have Coach of the Year. We have Coach and then Assistant Coach. We're going to start with the left side, so Coach of the Year. I am personally going to give this to Ben Johnson. Right, and by the way, these votes are casted before the playoffs start, so we cannot be like, well, Mike McDonald's made it par in the playoffs. This is cast beforehand, all right? They don't know that. But Liam Cohen, Ben Johnson, Mike McDonald, Kyle Shanahan, Mike Vrabel, I think these are all great guys to be considerations. Mike Vrabel, first year as the head coach for the Patriots, obviously coached in Tennessee. I think that's going to hurt his case, even though he's a great coach. We've seen him do well in Tennessee. But then all the other guys, you have Mike McDonald obviously going from missing the playoffs to the 1 seed and looking like in my opinion, Super Bowl favorite. I don't think they're going to win. I think that's the Rams, but yeah. Then you have, the same guys. Liam Cohen going from top 5 draft pick, 4-13 to 13-4. Kyle Shanahan is the only other guy who's been here, but with the injuries he dealt with, for him to do that well, I think is phenomenal. I would personally give it to Ben Johnson, though, because of how well this team played down the stretch. Sorry, I'm drinking water. For them to, win all these close games really shows that, he has that resilience in him. And I think that is going to be a difference maker. So I think this is going to be a very close award. You could mention any of the guys except Mike Vrabel, in my opinion. I would not hate that. So I don't really think anyone's going to disagree that matters, because I think this is an award that literally any of the guys on the list besides, Mike Vrabel. Yeah. I don't think many people are going to disagree that, this could be any person's award. Looking at Assistant Coach of the Year, we have Vic Fangio, Brian Flores, Vance Joseph, Clinton Kubiak, and Josh McDaniels. I think this is also a no-brainer. I think it has to be Clinton Kubiak. To go and have, this team put up a historic offensive season with, JSN. Obviously, not the most receiving yards in history, but he was on pace at one point. I think it's so hard not to give it to him. This team, from top to bottom, start to finish, offense and defense, was phenomenal. Sam Darnold, he had a great year. You could argue, Minnesota, brought that life out of him, and Seattle just took advantage of it. But I think I would give it to him Now, the other guys definitely deserve, some arguments. Obviously, the Vikings offense was pretty bad. Eagles offense was pretty bad. So, both the coordinators kind of carried their teams. Josh McDaniels, obviously, that offense did amazing with an MVP candidate in Drake May. And then Vance Joseph as the defensive coordinator. I would say top 2 defense, them and the Seahawks. Definitely an argument there. I would give it to Clinton Kubiak, however. And I do think there are going to be some arguments for Vance Joseph, in my opinion, would be second place with how good that defense was. Obviously, that offense, in my opinion, in Denver was not the greatest, so that defense really carried them. But I don't think too many people are going to disagree there. The only one I really think so far is that Coach of the Year, and that's not really a bad thing. And then finally, we have our MVP to go over. We have Josh Allen. Don't know why he's on the list. Trevor Lawrence, don't know why he's on the list. They did this because they needed 5 guys to put in. It's the same thing with Stephon Diggs. These guys, just kind of had to make it. But then you got Drake May, Christian McCaffrey, and Matthew Stafford. Unfortunately for Christian McCaffrey, with how good of a season he had, this is the best quarterback award. I know it's called MVP. That's a lie. So sorry, CMC, but you're eliminated. This is between Drake May and Matthew Stafford. Both of these guys had phenomenal seasons. I think the expectations were a lot lower for Drake May, and considering how well he did, was phenomenal. However, Matthew Stafford did have the better season. So this is a really tough, choice. First year as a starter for Drake May, obviously didn't start all of last year, but most games. And then Matthew Stafford, obviously the old veteran, still slinging that ball. I would give this award to Matthew Stafford. Right, it's the MVP, the most valuable player. It's not going to count, this was his first year as a starter. That's not going to go into effect, really. I love Drake May. I think he's probably going to win multiple MVPs in his career. But I just find it very hard to argue against Stafford when he had the better season. I do think this is going to be a very close vote. But ultimately, I don't think there's going to be many people who disagree with this either. And if you do, well, if you're a Patriots fan, you don't count, because obviously there's bias there. So those are my picks for the awards. Now, one I didn't mention is the best O-lineman. I'm just going to throw in who I think should win it. I think it should be Penei Sewell. He was a very good tackle. He's always has been, especially on that Lions team, who didn't do very well this year, but their running game was fierce. Their passing game was fierce. He didn't really do a lot of sacks, so I would personally give it to him, especially as a Packers fan, seeing him firsthand. He has been dominant for years. And I think those are the other awards. I know there's Walter Payton Man of the Year. I don't really follow the charities and all that, so no offense to them. I can't really vote on that. So, yeah, those are my picks. Let me know if you agree, disagree, what you would change. Sorry, it's a bit of a scummy format. Obviously, it's, on my phone on Twitter, but, well, this is kind of the best recording device I have. So, hope you enjoyed. I did. I will see you guys next time. Goodbye. Hope you enjoyed.